All right, in this section, we're going to be looking at slope. So slope is, well, if you think about a ski slope, as you see in one of these pictures here, ski slope or a mountain slope, you could have a slope on a hill with this dump truck, or if you look at the house, the roof has a variety of different slopes. There's a really, really, really steep slope, right? Oops, we're going to get a better marker here. Really steep slope right here. There's some steep slopes right there. There's a shallower slope right there. And so slope, we talk about steep and shallow, but that isn't very mathematical. It's hard to put a precise quantity on steep. What is steep? Well, steep to me and steep to you might be different. This is, kind of steep, but this is a lot steeper to a point where you need crampons and a ice axe to get up it. And so we've got different ideas of what a slope is. But we're going to look at what that means mathematically. If you look here, we're going to be, again, I guess this one we've got some different types of slope. You can see we've got, looks like the Grand Canyon. You could have some shallow slopes like a cornfield. That's some pretty shallow sloping hills. Ski slope. You could have a very steep rocky side. Kind of a not so steep ski slope. Maybe a green circle, I think, right? Green circle is pretty easy. Very steep slope. Almost a ladder at that point, and again some different slopes. We're going to be looking at how do we measure those slopes? How do we measure those slopes, and how can we put a number, a quantity on that? So there are 4 types of slopes that we're going to be looking at. Oops, I don't know if I'm going to get this to work. There we go. Okay, 4 types of slope that we're going to be looking at. There are negative slopes, positive slopes, undefined slopes, and zero slopes. So a negative slope would look something like this. And so a negative slope is going to be going down from left to right. And it's that left to right business that's important, because really, depending on how you look at it, it could be going up or down. But if we read from left to right, just like in a book, if we are going down from left to right, it's a negative slope, kind of like a negative correlation. We looked at correlations earlier. So a negative slope has a negative correlation. Equally, a positive slope has a positive correlation. It's going to go up from left to right. So as we read from left to right, a positive slope goes up, a negative slope goes down. So negative, down, bad. Positive, up, thumbs up, good. So a positive slope goes up from left to right, a negative slope goes down from left to right. We've talked about those before with correlations. Undefined slope and zero slope. I'm going to start with undefined, actually. I'm going to start with zero, actually. A zero slope would be like the floor. You would not want the floor to have much of a slope, because then you would roll down the floor. You would want the floor to be flat. You'd want it to have zero slope, to have no slope. Same thing with your desk. You'd want to have your desk to have no slope on it, otherwise your pencil would roll off all the time. And so you don't want any slope on your desk. And so a zero slope is going to be a line that goes straight across. A line that goes straight across is going to be a zero slope. It does not rise or fall at all, a zero slope. An undefined slope is the inverse of that. An undefined slope is a vertical line, a straight up and down line. And you'll remember, or I hope you remember, that if you have a graph like that, like the undefined slope there, that's not a function. Because if you do your vertical line test, every input, the only input, has more than one output. If you plug into your the equation -2, you get lots of different outputs. And so it is an undefined slope. It is not a function. And we're going to look more at what that undefined slope thing means in a little bit. But those are the 4 types of slopes that we're going to be looking at. Negative, positive, undefined, zero. Part of your assignment will just ask you, what kind of slope is it? And those are your answers for that. Okay, we'll do that in class, actually. Slope. Slope is a number that describes how steep a line is. So we've been talking about steep lines and what that means. Here's our mathematical formula for it. Slope is the vertical change over the horizontal change. It's how much does it go up compared to how much does it go over. And an easier way to remember that, the way that you'll hear a lot of other people talk, is rise over run. You rise up, you run forward. And so or backwards. A vertical change compared to the horizontal change. A steeper line will have a high rise, but a very low run. And that's a very steep sloping line that I drew there, because it goes up really, really, really high very quickly. A low slope would have very little rise and a lot of run. And so we've got our rise and our run DMC. So we got the run and the rise, and that gives us our slope, a steep slope or a shallow slope. So we've got some examples here. A positive slope and a negative slope. So again, it's going up from left to right, it's going down from left to right. But let's figure out what the slope is, the number of the slope. We know it's positive, but what is the slope? What is the number that is associated with that slope? So the rise, in this first one here, from A all the way to B, up and down vertically, not at an angle, but vertically, straight up and down from A to B, it goes up 8. The rise of 8. The run, again, from A to B, the run, or horizontal, is going to be 6. So the slope is 8 over 6. Now I keep telling you, reduce, 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 reduce. Yes, you have to reduce. You always have to reduce your fractions. We can leave it improper. 8 is bigger than 6. That's improper, but that's actually okay. We would prefer if we just had a numerator and a denominator, because that gives us the rise and the run. So it's actually okay to have an improper fraction. It's actually better to have an improper fraction than a mixed number. But we do need to reduce. So divide by 2, divide by 2. The correct answer then, the slope is 4/3. That is the slope of this line. Next one, this negative slope here. Again, we're going to rise over run. From C to D, it goes down 3. And so the rise is 3, but since it's going down 3, or if you just look at the graph is a negative slope. It's going down from left to right. So it's a negative 3, and the run, the horizontal change, 6, which again we can reduce, divide both sides by 3, divide both by 3, excuse me. We'd have negative 1/2. So rise over run, vertical change compared to the horizontal change, and that's the slope. That's the rate of change that is given in those graphs. I'll do a couple more with you, and then I'll have you try some on your own. So find the slope of these graphs. You'll notice there's no A and B in this graph, and there's lots of points that we could choose. I'm just going to pick 2 easy ones. I'm going to pick this one, the x-intercept, and this one, the y-intercept. Those are not the only 2 points that you could choose, but those are the ones that I chose. So if I look at those 2 points, the rise from here to here, 3. The vertical change. So there's my rise. The run then, from one side to the other, we've got a run of 3. Gives us a slope of 1. That's the slope. Slope is 1. Look at the one on the bottom. Look at one on the bottom. Again, we're going to do rise over run. I'm going to pick 2 points. They've actually kind of got 2 points chosen for us. However, I'm going to be a little bit smarter this time. And I'm going to say, well, those aren't my only 2 options. I could pick other points that are on the line. I'm going to keep with this one. But what happens if I do this one? That's a point on the line. Now, from the 2 blue points I made, the rise is 1. The run is 1, 2, 3. And I see that it's a negative slope because it's going down from left to right. So negative 1/3. Had I used the red points that they gave me, this point and this point, I could have done the same thing. The rise would have been 2. The run would have been 6. And it would have been negative 2/6, which still gives me negative 1/3 is my final answer. So you don't have to use the exact points that they give you. You can use whichever points you want. We could have actually done that in the first one. and use this point and that point. Rise of 1, run of 1. Got the same answer. Last I'm going to do with you, the slope of these two lines. Again, we said at the very beginning that if it is a vertical line, it is an undefined slope. And if it is a horizontal line, it has 0 slope. And so if I go back to my problem, nope, not quite. Here it is. Quit. If I go back to my problem, here they are. The first one would be an undefined slope. We know it's going to be undefined. Well, let's find out why. If I take the 2 points they give me, 1, 2, 0, 5, and 0, negative 3. Let's find the rise and the run. The rise from those 2 points is going to be 8. From 5 to negative 3, a rise of 8. The run, it goes left and right, 0. You cannot do 8 divided by 0. It is undefined in our algebra. You cannot divide by 0. Can't divide in any algebra. And so 8 divided by 0, we can't do it. Doesn't equal anything. And so 8 divided by 0 is undefined. Same thing on the bottom. This is definitely going to be a 0 slope. But let's figure out why. If we take the 2 points they gave us, we've got 0, negative 4, and 4, negative 4. The rise between those 2 points, 0. Doesn't go up and down at all. The run, it goes back and forth, 4. Well, 0 divided by 4, I can take nothing and divide it into 4 parts. I have nothing in all 4 parts. And so 0 divided by 4 does give us a slope of 0. So the rise over run thing still works. It still holds. We just get undefined as an answer and 0 as an answer. On an assignment, on a quiz, on a test, if you just write undefined and 0, that's fine. You don't have to prove that it's undefined or prove that it's 0. You can just write the slope. If, however, it does have a slope of a number other than 0, yes, show me the rise over run. Write the 3 over 3, the negative 1 over 3, whatever it is. Show me how you got that. However, if it's undefined or 0, just write undefined or 0. Okay, try these 4 on your own. Pause it, try it on your own, see what you can get for those 4, and I'm going to put those answers up on the board. Okay, I'm assuming that you paused it. I'm assuming you tried it on your own. The first one is 1/8. Second one is undefined. The third one is 0. And yes, you can use the number 0 if you want. And the last one is negative 1/3. If you did not get those and you want to see how those are done, click the linked video, watch the video underneath, and then go ahead and take the form. Thank you very much.